Hello, I'm Henry John Griffin, and I got punished today, and I felt fear. Well, anyways, this is a picture I took from the internet, and this is a computer metaphor picture. Now, although you could even be using the computer metaphors to set people up with setup questions, and if you are doing that, then it's probably bad, and most of these setup questions aren't even good, aren't even a joke. Well, although I didn't want to get punished, I didn't want my dad to punish me. I wanted my dad to use a metaphor instead of punishing me. Now, if he did answer my question, that's good. Because there we now have it that it processes information, and the brain and the computer have similarities, even if you get a setup answer. Now, the topic I have discussed is that if Daddy leaves, that's a good thing. That means he doesn't like to be set up by the setup questions all night long, or even all day long. I told him that he could use a computer metaphor, and maybe I'll feel better. But no, he wanted to punish me, so I got mad and decided to corrupt the antivirus files, as in pretend, if you want to say that. As in pretend, if you want to say that. So, I corrupt the antivirus program as in pretend, as in make-believe. And I last night was using my imagination to imagine, play make-believe, and pretend that your computer is hacked, and that and then Microsoft had something on the computer telling you that the computer was hacked and that it is infected, and that you should call the number. Like I said, I was using my imagination last night to pretend, make believe that the computer system is hacked, and that there is a problem, and that you need to call this number and have Microsoft or the corporations do the job to get their system checked. Now, I did kind of create a computer virus just using my imagination and using my phone. I did kind of release a computer virus because I was having a bad time. I wanted to download a virus so bad. But what happens if I download a virus on my mechanical laptop? Well, I'll do it the pretend way. I'll not download a virus on a mechanical laptop by downloading the actual virus. Instead, I will pretend. And I'll make a movie. That's what using my imagination is. Now, I had that right to use my imagination to protect myself against the setup answers by make-believing that your computer is hacked and that there is a problem and that it is infected. You need to call this number to get your computer checked, or however. I did kind of imagine a scam. I did kind of scam people by tricking them that their computer is infected with a virus and using a make-believe scam or a make-believe computer virus. And a make-believe computer virus is a scam and ransomware. I already used my imagination to make believe play that I did use my imagination to make believe play infected with ransomware. And that was because I did it out of frustration and I got mad because I didn't want grandma telling me Catherine is fiction and I didn't want people giving me setup answers or saying that the brain is not a computer. That's a setup answer, and even and setup answers are bad also. I went downstairs because I wanted to ask my dad the question. He answered it, but I still felt anxiety, and I still wanted him to answer the question. How about I would say 100,000 times? But he doesn't want to answer the question 100,000 times. So look what I'm leading to. I'm making videos and pretending to pretending to install a program that is infected with malware, that is infected with ransomware or spyware, or even pretending to open up emails, go on attachments, and download a file that is infected by a worm or a Trojan. Or even pretending to send spam messages and install a remote control by installing a remote control access and pretending to lock people out of their computers using my phone, and I kind of infected my phone with a virus by pretending that. Now, although I will still be using my imagination to make believe play that I'm attacking and infecting a user's operating system with malicious software and a Trojan horse and ransomware like malware, Trojans, and spyware and worms. And using my imagination to pretend to do denial of service attack and DOS. And scamming users and going on suspicious sites and websites that were infected by malware, and visiting a random website and clicking on a link that takes you to a virus page, and also clicking on adware and going on unsecure, untrusted websites and connecting and also pretending to join an unsecured Wi-Fi network or connect to one that is secured with WEP, WPA, or WPA2. Although I was still frightened by the setup questions when I felt the fear. This video was using a computer metaphor to ask a setup question and get a setup answer. Using a computer metaphor to set people up and have people giving you the answers you don't like. That's why I told you, that's why I have been reminded to leave my dad alone and stop asking people setup questions, because I know he's going to punish me. I know that he's going to hurt me. And I know that he's not going to want to talk to me afterwards if I keep asking him repetitive questions. That's why I got mad and pretend to load up a Trojan horse or find a system that's infected with malware and use that to you could say, as in make believe or pretend to infect a user's operating system, and going on suspicious websites and open up emails and websites you don't trust and emails and websites you never visited, and getting put at risk to having malicious software being downloaded just because I was set up by the computer metaphor setup answer. I was set up by the computer metaphor's setup answer because I asked a stupid question and have been thrown at with setup answers that now hypothetically or as in pretend contaminated my system and infected the imagination with a virus. Now, if I'm pretending to run malware in a pretend way, not talking about reality, not talking about real life, that would be on a machine computer, in pretend, I would be loading up malware, and then I will be downloading that malware to the rest of their computers and loading up that malware onto that infected PC. I did that out of anger. I didn't have to download no real computer virus or anything.
These yours?
Yes.
These headphones?
Yes.
Yeah. You can put them right here.
Just making a video.
Alright.
So, with me being set up by a setup question and getting some type of answer that you don't like, or even something even worse, I probably set my dad up with a setup question, and that's why he was punishing me and fears from the punishment and freaking anxiety. I got mad and used my imagination to download a virus onto a user's PC and infect a user's PC by installing a Trojan horse or running malware on a user's PC. You saw what just happened. Even though I was set up by the setup answers, it did not matter because the computer was still there in my imagination, in pretend. I could still pretend with my imaginary computer and feel better. And yes, do not ask setup questions about this because there are setup questions about the imagination too.